Hello, I'm Angela, and I'm here on my birthday to do my show today. And I want to thank everyone so far for all of the beautiful messages and texts. I woke up this morning, I had 20 texts, a couple of voicemails. I'm on California time right now, so it's actually 9 a.m. here, and I got in around midnight last night. It was a long day of flying, as you probably can imagine. Um, and but everything went easy peasy, and I'm here and I'm so excited. I'm going to be doing this corporate wellness and well-being workshop for the next, I'm here for quite a while, but the workshop itself is for 5 days. It's an immersive 14-hour days from 8 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. But I'm really excited. I'm studying with my teacher's teacher. So that's a big deal, and it's going to be intense. And I wanted to not fly on my birthday today. So I got here yesterday. So today I'm going to go to some, for anyone who knows me, they know I love flowers and gardens and all that. So I'm going to a botanical garden. I'm going to Laguna Beach and going to take that all in and enjoy the beauty of the Pacific Ocean, which is very different from the Atlantic Ocean. So I've gone coast to coast, literally, in the last 24 hours. So welcome to Living Well today. And every time I travel, I don't know if you do this, I'm a big believer in this. Every time I travel, I say prayer for God's, the universe's protection around me and all those I travel with. And everything went beautifully yesterday. So here we are. My eyes are running. I'm not really sure why, so I apologize for that. In any event, we're talking today about presence and the power of presence. So this is whether you are just want to light the room up more when you walk into it. You want to be more engaged. You want people to more engage with you in conversation. You have a high stakes conversation coming up with a colleague or a boss. You have a big presentation coming up, or a president's speech, or something for your local sports booster club. Doesn't really matter what it is, the universal principles apply. So we're talking about the power of presence. And it could simply be you just want to walk through your day to day with greater confidence and ease and grace. So it's always an inside job. You can have the best tools, the biggest PowerPoint screen, the best slides. And while those things have their place, they're not a substitute for what's going on inside. So it begins with a powerful intention and your own clarity about your why. Why make these statements? Why have this conversation? What is it about this that's important to you? And and if it's the case, if it's something more generic, like you simply want to have more presence in your day to day, walking through the world, still start with why. Why am I here? Why am I wanting to have more presence? Why am I wanting to be more clear with people and a better communicator? What? What is it that I want to communicate? What is it that I want to say? What is it that I want to be? See how simple it's distilling it down into that kind of clarity. And as you do that, you get stronger because your own clarity about yourself and your intention, your why you are there, why you are here, whatever it may be, is more clear. And clarity always brings greater power. Now, there's one simple tool I want to convey here, and I've shared this with my clients for many, many years. If you want greater power and presence, not quite instantaneously, but within 2 minutes, you do what is called, and this is not my technique, this is Dr. Amy Cuddy, a Harvard professor who studied this with NBA teams and all sorts of walks of life around performance and more impact, uh, more power. And it's called power positioning, power posing. And you literally, just like the animal kingdom, you make your physical footprint as big as physically possible, like the peacock or the gorilla. You see the gorilla pound on their chest. You see the peacock fan their feathers. So what happens, and I call it the Wonder Woman pose because that's what Dr. Cuddy calls it. You make your physical big footprint as big as possible. You put your arms out in a champion's pose, like when you're crossing the finish line, you've just won, etc. The champion's pose. You do the Wonder Woman pose, hands on your hips, your stance is wide and strong, and you hold that for 2 minutes. You could do this, hands behind your head. You've got to expand your physical footprint, and you hold that for 2 minutes. And what happens, and this is documented, what happens in those 2 minutes is your cortisol hormone, your cortisol level, which is your fight or flight, which saves you when you're running away from the gorilla or the elephant or the lion or whatever back in the day. That and adrenaline, etc. It decreases your cortisol levels in your bloodstream, while conversely, at the very same time, increases your testosterone, which is your strength hormone. Okay, so one goes up and one goes down. And as that happens, it brings you into strong strength. So they documented this when people were getting ready for interviews. They put a group over here that kind of had their, they're scared, they're in fear. Their physical footprint is very meek and meager and mild and small. And then they put a group over here and they taught them the power posing and asked them to open up and be strong and extend their limbs and make this bigger physical footprint. The interviewers did not know which interviewees came from which group. And the ones that came from the ones with the bigger, stronger were offered the positions by and large at a much higher probability. I think it was like 70 or 80% higher probability that they would be offered the position than the ones with the small physical footprint. So it's a physiological occurrence. Here's what else happens in that heart and mind connection when you're doing that. First of all, you understand your intention. You're strengthening your power. You're reducing stress, cortisol. So already your heart is more engaged in wanting that for you, wanting you to feel more expansive, wanting you to feel bigger, stronger, more courageous. Courage comes from the heart, not the head. But this power, this positioning, and posing allows your body to work for you more in favor in that moment. So that's the physiological, that's the body. Now, what do you say to yourself? What are the affirmations that you affirm within your heart? I am open to listening. I am open to understanding. I am open to becoming and being the biggest, most expansive me that I can be. I'm open to service. I'm here in service to help myself, and help those around me. And I always say a serenity prayer as well. God grant me the courage to accept the things that I cannot change. and the wisdom to know the difference. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. And so it is. So, what are other aspects of leaning in and having presence and lighting up? So, if you do your power posing, you say your affirmations, you get very clear on your intention, you're already 80% of the way there. Part of presence and a strong presence in a space is being clear with your words, using resourceful, empowering words. So I talk weekly about how words matter and being clear with your words. And if you're not clear with your intention, it's tough to be clear with your words. So you have to, first steps first, go inside, get clear in your intention, and then move into how do I wish to express that? And none of my programs are scripted. None of my videos are scripted. I might have a couple of points in my mind, but it comes from a sense of certainty and passion and love for what it is that you're talking about. So if you've ever noticed, it's the same thing. If you do really well in a subject at school because you love that, and you love that because you do really well. It's the same thing with this. You talk more powerfully and with greater presence about something you really love and that you better understand. So you certainly want to have a sense of understanding around your subject matter, of course. You don't have to know it all, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done with commitment and some level of understanding and appreciation for the topic that you're talking about. Now, if it's you're walking into a room and you want to light that room up and you want people to attract to you, to magnetize to you, then it is that clarity and passion and intention around, I am here to understand. I'm here to listen and I'm here to understand and I'm here to contribute. So it's really, you can see it's really super tied into your intention for being. It sounds simple when you say it, but it usually the simplest things are the finer answers. I have to tell you that forever and ever, I realize that. Here's another thing about presence. You have to be willing to not know. I think that's with anything. You have to be willing to not know. You have to appreciate that you don't know. There are lots of things you don't know. And there are lots of people that know a lot more than you about lots of things. And that's exciting. It's shifting your mindset into a growth mindset and saying, it's really exciting to not know, because that means I'm open. And I trust that I can learn. And I trust that I cannot feel somehow threatened because someone knows something more than me. I talked about this in last week's show. If you surround yourself with people that you know more than them about whatever, then you just all kind of, and it's the same people and they all know the same thing, then you just kind of stay the same. Who wants that? Our idea is to continually be fostering growth and cultivating expansiveness, becomingness. So a willingness to not know. I've shared this with my daughter often. Be prepared to step into a room where you don't know everything. And even if it's way above you and you have no idea what people are talking about, lean in, listen, be a sponge. Someday that content will, when I say go to puree, someday it will integrate and you'll go, oh, that's what that person was talking about. Oh, I've heard about this before. So while that seems like that's on the receiving end, presence is very much about being open to receiving. So if you're on stage, and I've grown up on stage, since I was a little kid, I've been on the stage. It's just part of my persona, but you can capture that kind of confidence for yourself. Yul Brenner, who did, I don't know how many, 2,000 performances or something on Broadway of The King and I, threw up before every performance. Nerves. And I mean, here's someone who'd done that performance for how many times? But he cared so much about doing well and contributing and entertaining that that was nervous energy. So, but then as soon as he walked out onto that stage, physiology, he personified the king. I am the king. Dorothy Sarnoff worked with him for years in the power of presentation, and she worked with him on being able to connect with his audience and being certain of himself. So even if you've never stepped on a stage before and you're preparing to, do the power pose, be clear about your intention, have some level of passion and appreciation and understanding for your subject matter, of course, but come there with the intention to connect, to integrate your energy with that of your audience, to be prepared and responsive to your audience, to be human, to be open to learning. Let them teach you as well. Let it be a beautiful exchange. If you're going into a negotiation, power is vital. Your own sense of self and boundaries is vital. So how do you do that? You have to be clear about what it is that you want and need. It all comes back down to that internal conversation that you have with yourself first. And then, really, in a sense, the conversation that takes place is an affirmation of what it is that you need and want, reaffirming. Here's a wonderful thing that a mentor of mine taught me is that confidence doesn't give you competence. You can't fake it till you make it. You can act as if, and that can be really important if you're thrown into an arena or someone asks you a question you don't know anything about. Your ability to confess that I don't fully know that answer right now, but what I can tell you is bum, 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 that I will find out, whatever it might be. So you can act as if, you can offer that confidence, even if you don't know about the subject matter. You can be resourceful for yourself regardless. But here's the thing, competence leads to confidence. Competence leads to confidence. So people think, well, I just have to find the confidence within me and then I can do the job. Like I said, you can act as if, and that will take you so far. But eventually, you're going to want to fortify your own knowing about something, and practice it. And that practice is about mastery. And your practice and your learning will always come more readily to you with greater ease and deeper understanding if you know yourself, know thyself. Know thyself. Know what your limitations are, know what your strengths are, know what your capabilities are, understand and appreciate what you don't know yet. Take stock of all of that and say, here's the final affirmation for today. How much time are we on? We're not even sure what time is it. Oh, we're doing well. Say, I am who I am, and who I am is enough. I am who I am, and who I am right here, right now is enough. I don't know it all. I never will. I know enough about what I'm passionate about, what I want to talk about, what I want to share, what I want to contribute, and how I want to be in service to myself and to others. to be a conduit, to be a creative channel, to be a co-creator with God, with my audience. Those are the stories you tell yourself. And as you do, you sheer up your own knowing, you sheer up your own strength. And that gives you the confidence to move forward. Does that make sense? It's like this equation. If you want to speak more clearly, know in your heart more clearly what you want to speak about. If you want to bring more light into a room that people naturally gravitate towards, cultivate your own light within so you can shine brighter and bigger. How do you cultivate your own light within? You spend time with nature. You meditate. You spend time in silence so you can hear your own heart. You go through forgiveness, forgiving yourself and forgiving others. You practice appreciation. You are open to receiving the gifts. You do your mirror meditation, which I've talked about. You own your own story and recognize that you are not the victim, but you are the hero, and you get to decide. You have active choice in your life. You yield, you surrender. Went through this at church service this past Sunday, this beautiful surrendering, surrendering your life to be of service, to be creative, to channel the light and the love of God through you, with you, in harmony. So I just took you through the harmony method, much of it anyway. So that's how you cultivate light and certainty. And nature, that's part of why I came to California, is a very big part of that. I mean, you can get nature, by looking at a flower, by standing in the sun. I like to see the ocean. The energy of the ocean is like nothing else. So for me, that lights me up. Gardens. You saw earlier on my feed this week and on Facebook, the Luna moth. I mean, I was absolutely fascinated. Had to photograph her, have a conversation with her, look at her beauty, admire her beauty, understand her story. That she had came to die on that patio. She's still there. She died. She died on the wall. They only live a week. They are transformed from the cocoon, and they have their babies, and then they die. It's a little bit sad, and yet it's like cycle of life, that's her purpose. She's okay with it. Look at how gorgeous she was for 1 week. So, and she perpetuates life. She perpetuates her energy. So you can have nature anywhere, but nature definitely lights you up. Having your own recognition of your own beauty and enoughness, and that lights you up. That makes you bigger. Now, here's one final story I'm going to share with you, experience, and that is every time you have a conversation with someone, whether it's one-on-one, could be a group of folks at your workplace. It could be a large audience of 1,000 or 5,000, 10,000. It doesn't matter. You're going and you're playing a game. You're playing a baseball game today. You're playing in the game, a softball game or a soccer, football, whatever it might be. Is that the people that are watching you there, the people that you are trying to communicate with, whether it's through your performance on the field, your teammates, your coaches, whether you're on a stage in a business environment and you're communicating an idea and sharing in that concept, you must first see yourself as big and ever expansive, infinite. Ever expansive and ever infinite. Expanding and ever infinite. You then do that for that person across from you or that audience. You see them as endless. You see them as so expansive, infinite intelligence, intelligence that goes on forever. See them that big, see them so, so big, see them endlessly big, and they will rise up to fill those shoes, and you will rise up to fill those shoes. You have to hold space for yourself and for others, that they are endless, beautiful, intelligent beings, creatures that are reflections of God. And so it is. I wish you the power of presence today. Practice the harmony method. Come back to these videos often. Practice is is all important. Mastery is about becoming, and you can master something over time. I don't know that you can master it in an instant. I'm sure there are some people who can. I cannot. Mastery takes time. Sometimes, it's the lifetime that it takes. It takes however much time it takes. And the journey on the way there is the beauty, is the learning. So I wish you today on my birthday, the day I decided to come onto this planet and shine my light and learn and be a reflection of and a communicator of the beauty. Thank you for celebrating my birthday with me today. Thank you for all the love forever and ever and ever. I love you. And I'm so blessed and I so appreciate you being here, whether you watch this live or whether you watch this on repeat. I invite you to follow and subscribe on my YouTube channel. Make sure you get all the words of the week because words do matter, and even catch a few moonlight moments as I sprinkle moon dust wherever I can, wherever I go, in California or otherwise. Much love to you. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.